If your main reason for going to the Maldives is to scuba dive, then booking a dive liveaboard is probably a better option. But if you have a partner who doesn't dive, a Maldives resort holiday is possibly a better choice. Having said that, many Maldives liveaboards are very luxurious and some are very big boats, with onboard spas, land-based evenings, non-diving activities and more. For example, the Scuba Spa Ying and Scuba Spa Yang liveaboards are 50-metre dive boats. That's over 160 feet, which is the equivalent to the length of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. If your non-diving partner loves to relax in the sun and read books, and especially if they like spas, and if you like them too of course, you may want to consider booking one of the Scuba Spa liveaboards instead of a resort. I've included a link in the description below for you to consider this option. At the end of this video, I suggest an option you may not have thought about, which may appeal to you if you have a non-diving partner. But before I get to that, it's better you understand the pros and cons of each option first, as this will help you to decide. So let's dive in and look at the comparison of a liveaboard trip versus a resort trip to the Maldives. Both liveaboard diving and resort diving have their advantages and disadvantages, and the choice between the two depends on your preferences and priorities. Let's compare the two options by first looking at liveaboard diving. Uninterrupted diving. Liveaboard boats are specifically designed for divers. They take you to multiple dive sites, which are often in remote areas, and liveaboards allow you to explore a wider range of dive sites during your trip. More diving. There's no doubt that you will dive more on a liveaboard than you will if you stay on a resort, as the whole concept of a liveaboard is based on getting underwater to experience the wonders of the Maldives. On a typical 7-night liveaboard trip, you'll dive approximately 15 to 20 dives, depending on your choice of liveaboard, and this will be included in the price of your trip. Night dives. This is not to say you won't be able to night dive from a resort, but it's far more likely you'll do night dives from a liveaboard and have the chance to experience diving with nurse sharks in the Maldives at night. Less crowded dive sites. Liveaboards are far more flexible on where they can go, so they can go to the less crowded dive sites. Plus, for each new day, liveaboards usually get to the new dive site ready for the morning dive, so you can be in the water enjoying the amazing corals and sea life whilst the resort divers are still eating their breakfast. A bigger range of dive sites. Liveaboards are like a floating hotel, which means they can move from one place to another, which mostly happens whilst you sleep. So you get to cover a far wider area and get to dive in more locations than you would if you are stuck on a single resort where the diving will be mostly limited to the dive sites closest to the resort. This also means you see many more beautiful islands and atolls from the comfort of your dive boat. Snorkeling. Another great thing about a liveaboard trip is that if you love snorkeling, you'll be able to snorkel in between the dives at various locations a liveaboard visit. Social experience. Liveaboards are a great way for meeting like-minded divers and for creating friendships during your trip. Dining experience. Whilst many of the liveaboards offer indoor and alfresco dining, and some offer a dining experience on an island or atoll, you don't have the choice of restaurants that resorts can offer. Most meals on liveaboards are served buffet style, but some also offer an a la carte menu option too. Higher costs. Liveaboard trips can be more expensive than resort diving due to the all-inclusive nature of the package, but this does depend which resort you are comparing the cost to, as some of the high-end Maldives resorts will be way more expensive than most, if not all, liveaboards, with the cost of diving and other activities as an extra cost at the resort. And in many cases, when you strip out the cost of flights, as with each option you need to get to the Maldives, when you compare the cost of a liveaboard versus an all-inclusive resort package, you may find there's not much in it, especially when on most resorts scuba diving is an extra cost and is normally very expensive. But this is included in the cost of the Liveaboard package. However, in most cases, the non-diving partner on a Liveaboard pays the full price, which includes the cost of diving. So you will effectively be paying for something you won't be getting. Motion sickness. Some people may experience seasickness on a Liveaboard, especially during rough seas. This can therefore impact the overall enjoyment of the trip. Limited space. Living on a boat for an extended period of time can feel cramped, especially on smaller vessels. Cabins are typically smaller than resort rooms, and common areas may be limited in size too. Connectivity. Internet and mobile connectivity can be limited or non-existent during Liveaboard trips, which might be a disadvantage if you need to stay in touch with the outside world. But having said that, most Liveaboards have onboard Wi-Fi, but with the understanding that the day-to-day connectivity can be affected by location. Some Liveaboards include Wi-Fi as part of the package, whereas some charge extra for it, which is no different to some resorts. So let's now look at the advantages and disadvantages of a resort diving trip. Comfort and amenities. Most Maldives resorts provide comfortable accommodation and various amenities, making it a more relaxing and a more luxurious option versus spending a week on a dive boat. Although this is debatable when you look at what you enjoy on the Scuba Spa Liveaboards. Island exploration. Staying at a resort allows you to experience the culture and beauty of a specific Maldivian island or atoll beyond just diving. Having said that, most atolls in the Maldives are very small, so it won't take you very long to explore the island or atoll within the first few days of your stay. But if you like to walk every day, then staying at a resort will accommodate this activity far better than if you stay on a Liveaboard. House reef. If you choose your resort carefully, you'll have an excellent house reef to snorkel and to dive on each day. The house reef is what surrounds the island or atoll you're staying on and is normally within a short swim from the shore. If diving is too expensive for you to do every day, you can still get to enjoy snorkeling and see plenty of sea life this way instead. But on the other side of this is that your location is fixed, which unlike on a Liveaboard trip where you're moved from different sites, you are therefore often restricted to nearby reefs, which may limit the variety of snorkeling and diving you can do. Limited dive sites. While some resorts have good dive sites nearby, which will depend on which resort location you choose, they may not have access to the more remote or less visited locations in the Maldives that Liveaboards can reach. Terra firma. If terra firma, or should I say dry land, is important to you, especially if you or your partner tend to get seasick, then a resort holiday will be a better choice, as although some of the Liveaboards in the Maldives are very large and stable, you may not enjoy the experience. Swimming pool option. If you like to swim in a pool as well as or instead of in the sea, or if your partner doesn't like going in the sea, booking a resort holiday means you get to enjoy both options. Whereas if you stay on a Liveaboard, you don't have the choice. Although some Liveaboards will have a jacuzzi, this isn't the same as a swimming pool. Dining. Many of the Maldives resorts offer a choice of restaurant, where some are buffet style and some offer a la carte menus to choose your meals from, which means you can vary where you eat each day. More affordable, booking a resort holiday can be more budget friendly, especially if you're not planning to dive every day or multiple times a day. Having said that, if you're a keen diver, dive packages on Maldives resorts can be very expensive. And because this is included in the cost of a Liveaboard trip, you may be better off on a Liveaboard instead. Plus, this will depend on which resort you book as some of the high-end Maldives resorts will be way more expensive than most, if not all, liveaboards, with the cost of diving and other activities as an extra cost at the resort. Crowds. Some of the popular Maldives resorts can get crowded, particularly during the peak season, which may lead to less privacy and tranquility. So ultimately, the decision between a liveaboard and resort diving comes down to your diving and other preferences and what you want to prioritize during your trip. If you want to focus primarily on diving, exploring multiple dive sites and dive the more remote locations and have a more adventurous and social experience, perhaps a liveaboard might be the best choice. But on the other hand, if you prefer a more laid-back vacation with a mix of diving and other activities while staying on a beautiful island, a resort diving package may be more suitable. In either case, the Maldives' breathtaking underwater world is sure to leave you with unforgettable memories. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, I have one final option that you may not have thought about, which is to mix it up and stay 1 week at a resort and 1 week on a liveaboard, so you get to enjoy the best of both worlds. And also, depending on the liveaboard you choose, you can do shorter liveaboard trips too. For example, the Scuba Spa liveaboards offer a 4-night trip instead of a whole week. So you could use this part of your overall trip to the Maldives to enjoy the diving, and then use the resort part of your trip for relaxation and snorkeling.